Have you ever opened your rent renewal notice and just stared at it, thinking, how did it get this high? If you're nodding along, you are definitely not alone. For millions of people across America, rent isn't just a monthly bill, it's a source of constant stress. It feels like every year the number goes up, but our paychecks don't always follow suit. So what's really going on? Why does it feel like we're all running on a treadmill, working harder just to stay in the same place? Today, we're diving deep into the real reasons your rent keeps rising, and trust me, it's more complex than just a greedy landlord. Let's start with the most basic economic principle, supply and demand. Think back to 2008. The housing market crashed, and building new homes and apartments slowed down to a crawl. For years, construction just couldn't keep up with the number of people needing a place to live. Fast forward to today, and we're still playing catch-up. We have more households forming, people moving out on their own, starting families, than we have available apartments and houses. When a lot of people are competing for a few available units, prices naturally go up. It's like trying to buy the last popular toy during the holidays. The seller can pretty much name their price. Now, you might be thinking, but I see new apartment buildings going up everywhere, and you're right. Construction has picked up, but here's the catch. What kind of apartments are being built? Overwhelmingly, developers are focused on luxury apartments. Why? Because that's where the biggest profit is. Building anything, especially in major cities, is incredibly expensive. The cost of land, materials like lumber and steel, and labor have all skyrocketed. To make a project financially viable, developers often build high-end units with fancy amenities, rooftop pools, state-of-the-art gyms, dog spas, you name it. These units command premium rents that only a small portion of the population can afford. So, while the skyline might be changing, the supply of affordable, regular apartments for the average person isn't growing nearly as fast. This brings us to another huge factor, the changing landscape of homeownership. For generations, the American dream was to own a home, but that dream is becoming harder and harder to reach. Student loan debt is at an all-time high, making it difficult for younger generations to save for a down payment. On top of that, home prices have exploded, and with recent interest rate hikes, a mortgage payment can be astronomical. So, what happens when people can't afford to buy? They rent. And they often rent for much longer than previous generations did. This creates a huge, permanent class of renters, adding even more pressure to the rental market. People who would have otherwise moved into homeownership are now competing with everyone else for the same limited pool of apartments. Let's talk about where the money goes. When you pay your rent, it doesn't all go straight into your landlord's pocket for a tropical vacation. Property owners have their own rising costs. Property taxes have been steadily increasing in many cities to fund schools, infrastructure, and public services. Insurance premiums, especially in areas prone to natural disasters like floods or wildfires, have gone through the roof, and then there's maintenance. Keeping a building in good shape costs money. Fixing leaks, replacing old appliances, landscaping, and paying for utilities in common areas. All of these expenses get passed down to tenants in the form of higher rent. If the owner's costs go up by 5%, you can bet your rent will, too. Now, here's a piece of the puzzle you might not have considered: large-scale investors. In recent years, big corporations and private equity firms have been buying up apartment buildings and single-family homes by the thousands. They're not your typical mom-and-pop landlord who owns a duplex down the street. These are massive companies with a primary goal: maximizing returns for their shareholders. They often use sophisticated software to analyze the market and determine the absolute highest rent they can charge for every single unit. This data-driven approach removes any personal connection and pushes rents up to the market ceiling, and sometimes it feels like they're pushing the ceiling itself higher. When a few large companies control a significant portion of the rental housing in a city, they can effectively set the price for everyone. Location also plays a massive role. The rise of remote work has been a game changer. You might think that if people can work from anywhere, they'd move to cheaper places and rents in big cities would go down. But the opposite has happened in many areas. People left super expensive cities like New York and San Francisco and moved to what used to be more affordable places like Austin, Boise, or Phoenix. This huge influx of new residents, often with higher big city salaries, created intense competition for housing in these Zoom towns, causing rents there to skyrocket for locals who were already living and working there. It's a ripple effect that has spread housing unaffordability across the country, not just in the traditional coastal hubs. So we have a supply shortage, a focus on luxury construction, more long-term renters, rising costs for landlords, and corporate investors all pushing prices up. It feels like a perfect storm, and in many ways, it is. The solutions aren't simple. Building more housing, especially affordable housing, is crucial. This requires cities to change zoning laws that often make it difficult or illegal to build denser, more affordable options like duplexes or small apartment buildings in certain neighborhoods. We also need policies that can help tenants, like strengthening rent stabilization rules and programs that help more people achieve homeownership to ease the pressure on the rental market. It's easy to feel powerless when you see that rent bill go up again. But understanding the complex forces at play is the first step. It's not just about one person or one company. It's a systemic issue that has been decades in the making. It's a conversation we need to be having not just with our friends, but with our local leaders. Change starts with awareness. By demanding better policies and smarter urban planning, we can start to build a future where having a safe, affordable place to call home isn't a luxury, but a reality for everyone. If this topic hit home for you, let me know your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. What's the rental situation like where you live? And if you found this breakdown helpful, please give this video a like and subscribe for more deep dives into the issues that affect all of us. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.